everyone, welcome. I am 2 minutes off 8:30, so I'm actually pretty much on time this evening. I don't know if you can hear, but my baby's still crying downstairs. My husband's helping her. We've had a really long drive, and I think we had maybe 2 stops, but Noah wasn't settling. She couldn't get to sleep in the car. I think she was just too tired. So we've come home and it took us a while unpacking and dinner and all of that. So she had a wee half hour and I thought she might stay down, but she's sort of woken and needing a wee bit of extra help. So I'm feeling a bit preoccupied. And we're going to hopefully keep it short this evening. I hope that's okay with everyone. I've just got some family stuff and I want to concentrate on that this evening, but it was so important for me to be here too. So what I did was really not think too much about this evening. I kind of had it at the back of my mind, but I knew also that I hadn't been consciously thinking about my work this last week. I just really wanted to focus on being where I was with our holiday and really just following what was happening. So when Robin came in the morning, she always had an idea about what she wanted to do, and I was kind of in a kind of surrender mode. I just kind of felt like I'm going to put everything else on the back burner, and I want to be able to be open to what's right before me and move into that without the usual sort of tug, because there's always something else that I'm aware that I want to be doing or that needs to be done. And I guess that's what holidays can be really good for, is just unplugging from that sense of duty all the time. So it's been such a great holiday. There's a sort of forced slowness. The pace had to be much slower because life where we were is just so slow, and there aren't any distractions really. We live in town and there's a million things that can grab our attention and take us away from maybe what we really need actually, and being there and just being with the quiet. And there's a real pensiveness about everything. There's no hurry. Even, the sheep on the road don't allow you to even drive particularly quickly. It's a sort of enforced slowness, and I wanted to really embrace that, because I guess when you've got kids, that's kind of the opposite of what you're experiencing much of the time, or it can be, because they're so immediate and they're so intense, and their needs and their wants are always on the surface, or mainly there's that like lovely transparency with a child. Like if they're having a hard moment or a bad mood, you know about it. And yeah, we navigated all of that too. None of the real stuff in my life went on hold, just the stuff that's actually possibly not as important. And actually I read a lovely quote about being a mother or being a parent, and it was something like, we think that the busyness or the important stuff is being detracted from when we're with our children, because there's all this stuff that we need to do, but here's this child of mine demanding something of me now. And I think very often parents can get sort of really caught up in all the other things that they need to do. And that's what it said, the most important work. And And I think it's something to do with the important work aspect of it. So we think there's all this important work that we need to be doing, whatever that is for us. And actually the most important work is the work we put in with our children. And I do try to remember that. I think meditation really helps me have the groundedness and the strength to stay with that feeling and be really open to what my children need from me right now, and what is it I put off to be there for them that's even that important or more important than what I'm doing in that moment with my child. And it's true of like everything within our lives. We don't need children to have that same sort of dynamic or that same practice within ourselves. It's just a sense of what really matters to me and what do I really want to give myself to, and how do I want to give myself to it? Do I want to give myself to it in gratitude and in the spirit of love or openness to experience, or am I going to push up against it and moan about it and find things to hate about it, and quietly complain to myself or wish it wasn't the way it is? We do so much with what we've got, and we don't always do the right thing with what the moment is giving us. But I do feel like my spiritual practice and the discipline of showing up for myself in that every day is the thing that allows me to be that person, to be the person that I want to be the person that I admire in others. So those have been my thoughts this past week. It's what I've been trying to embrace even more fully. And actually, it's less tiring just to be in the moment in a really simple way, just simply and easily engaging with, this is how I feel, this is how I want to move through how I feel, knowing kind of what you need for yourself in that. So what I wanted to do was I've got a couple of books. In fact, they're both new books. And this first one, Daily Om, my sister got me actually, just a random gift. And when I flicked through it, I thought it was just kind of perfect for evenings like this when I've not done as much preparation as I normally would, and I still want to give you something that's poignant and that's purposeful and that can give you something to really think about or develop yourself once you come away. And so what I do, and I learned this when I was younger from one of my mum's friends, and I think she was doing it with a Bible, and she got my sister and I to hold it and put our thumbs on it, like as if we were in prayer pose almost, like that, and to think about how we were feeling and think about something that we felt we needed guidance on or an answer for. And then we would sit with the Bible and then just try and allow our thumbs to be guided to wherever the book opened or wherever it opened the book. And I realised today that I still do that, but I'd forgotten that was the root, that's where it had come from. But anyway, I did it, and this is the page I opened at, and I thought I would read it to you, which I loved, and it kind of makes sense given the week I'd had, and what I was trying to be mindful of in that holiday. So this is going through the opening, contracting before expanding, and it says, sometimes our lives contract before they expand. We may be working hard on ourselves spiritually, doing good in the world, following our dreams and wondering why we are still facing constrictions of all kinds, financial, emotional, physical, and so on. Perhaps we even feel as if we have lost our spirituality and are stuck in a dark room with no windows. We may be confused and discouraged by what appears to be a lack of progress. Sometimes this is simply the way things work, like a caterpillar that confines itself to a tiny cocoon before it grows wings and flies. We are experiencing the darkness before the light. When things feel tight, it's easy to panic or to want to act to somehow ease the sense of constriction. We might also spin on our wheels mentally, trying to understand why things are the way they are. However, there is nothing we need to do at this time other than be patient and persevering. We can cling to the awareness that we are processing the shift from one stage to another. And the more we surrender to the experience, the more quickly we move through the tightness and into the opening on the other side. Just like a baby making its way down the birth canal, we may feel squeezed and pushed and very uncomfortable, but if we remember that we are on our way to being born into a new reality, we will find the strength to carry on. Even as we endure the contracting, we can find peace within ourselves if we remember to have faith in the universe. We are able to look to the natural world for inspiration as we see that all things and all beings surrender to the process of being born. And in that surrender and in the center of our own hearts is a willingness to trust in the unknown. I love that. There's just so much there, but that sense of creating an opening, going through the opening, and being able to sense that it's there, that it's there for all of us, and it's there in every moment, and it's always been there, and it always will be, and that gives me so much strength, because even when I fail to do it in this moment, I know in the next breath or in the next however long it takes me, I can experience myself differently and allow myself the chance to begin again, or to feel new, to do it differently, to move into it with a different spirit. And yeah, I guess the analogy there is with giving birth, or being born, and that's really helpful for me, having given birth and having felt like in that there was a rebirth for me, and I tend to find that a very, very powerful way of engaging with my life, because there is something about how unknowable the whole process of coming into being is. The process of growing in your mother's womb, and the process of being born, and then coming into being like a living, breathing person. And it's all so unknowable from a practical or a intellectual point of view. So it's something we always try to do something with in our mind. And the only way we can know it, the only way we can know where we are in that cycle of growing and shifting and incarnating into something new, and being born again in some sort of sense. The only way we can know that is from the inside out. The only way we can experience ourselves in that is from a feeling place, and from being really connected to the mind, the heart, and the intuition. These three big sort of I guess chakra points in our bodies, and we can really cultivate that by being present. And I think that's one of the things you learn to surrender to, I guess, when you are pregnant, because this process is happening. It's happening within you, but it's also happening. It can't happen without you, but it's something that happens sort of independent of your will at the same time, because it's just in a state of its own process and its own evolution, and we are the housing for that. As a mother who's growing a child and giving birth, but it's the same for everything really that we do. There are all these processes and shifts happening inside of us all the time, and we can't know them intellectually. We can't understand them on those terms because they are unknowable in that context. We have to come to know them by the way we feel, and the way we feel becomes the signpost and becomes the knowledge base that we can start to really move through the things in our lives that cause us pain. And I love that analogy of constriction and tightness and the discomfort. Because yes, that is what it is every time we find ourselves with disconnect, with that struggle, with the struggle to actually be with ourselves and the struggle to actually be in our experience and to be in it without the anguish and the anxiety and the pain, and as it said there, the panic that can so easily come with that sense of, oh, this doesn't feel good, this is not what I want, this is causing me pain, and you want to escape and you want to just get away from yourself or your experience. And I feel like that's where meditation and mindfulness are really medicinal. And it allows us over time to just build a stronger and stronger connection to ourselves, so that when the disconnect happens, which it does, and we all sort of shift in and out of that, and when it comes up, it becomes easier to live with and to manage and to go through, to go through the opening that it's actually creating. And I feel like I'm having a lot of those openings at the moment, especially around my own truth. And I call it my own truth because it is mine. It's mine to own, and it is my own. And I've had to speak my truth sometimes and live in the spirit of my truth more and more, especially since becoming a mother. And it becomes a really difficult process actually to live in your truth, because it's something else that I read that I really loved was about enlightenment, and how enlightenment doesn't necessarily always mean that what you gain is more happiness or you become a better version of yourself. It doesn't always mean those things. Enlightenment can actually be a really destructive force, because enlightenment is the falling away of untruth. It's everything falling away when the light is being shone. And in that shedding, when you're capable of noticing what's not working and seeing where you need to protect yourself, and really feeling where the boundaries need to be, and deeply acknowledging to yourself where the violations are and where the mistrust is, and sensing deeply within yourself where the anxiety comes from, and who it comes from, and that whole cocktail of things in our lives that give us an insight into who we are and how we experience ourselves in our lives, and how we trust in the world and how we feel safe in the world. And once I became a mother, this was enormous for me, and I could no longer turn a blind eye to certain things in my life that were just completely off or completely inappropriate or just downright not good for me, causing me anxiety and causing me to think negatively about myself and pulling me away and getting me all tangled up in these thoughts and fears that weren't even mine. They were being fed to me through other people in my life, and it was really toxic and horrible. And I knew that I had to start weeding the garden, so to speak. I really had to start figuring out where my roots were and where I was growing and where my sunlight was and what I was looking to and what I was really needing for nourishment. And it became huge. It became something that I made my central focus, and I just ramped up my radar on it and really started to allow myself to live my truth. And yes, moving towards your truth very often means that things appear, at least on the surface, to be falling apart or crumbling, and there can be a lot of pain involved in that. And it can feel like a really combustible and destructive thing, and not that it is, but that I think in living your own truth, it shines a light on everything that's untrue to you. And that's, I guess for me anyway, that's where I am. I'm living that right now. I'm living the apparent consequences of owning my truth and standing in it and being unshakable in that, and to keep returning to it, to keep returning to my feeling what feels good to me and what I know I can trust about myself, and allowing that to guide me. And it's difficult because you can become very caught up in all the other shit that's flying around. But really, the whole enlightenment thing, I guess ultimately it gives you what you need, but in the short term, it can be a really powerful force, sometimes destructive, I guess. So I don't know where you are in that. I don't know if maybe being true to yourself is something that you struggle with, or that you abandon easily, or that you want more strength in, or that you really want to cultivate a better understanding of within yourself. And for me, that really became a priority when my first daughter was born. And yeah, I encourage you to meditate. I just think it's such a powerful way to keep coming back to yourself and to keep that channel open, and to allow yourself to have something that you can depend on within you, that you always show up for, that you're always true to. And when you're true to yourself, your own truth is so easy to know. It's easy to access. It's not always easy to live, but that it all comes in stages, I guess. So before we finish up this evening, I thought we could do our meditation, and then I wanted to share a nice sort of prayer, I guess, with you at the end. So I'm going to get myself comfortable, and we can just start by tuning in, and we'll just do our meditation that we've been doing, the alternate nostril breathing. And you just rub our hands to begin. Bring them into your heart center. And get yourself nice and comfortable, and just take a nice deep breath in through your nose. And out through your nose. And then we'll inhale to tune in. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. And take your left hand into Gyal Mudra and place it on your left knee. Take your right thumb and place it over your right nostril. And inhale through the left. And close off the left and exhale through the right. Back in through the right. And out through the left. And quietly to yourself, you can inhale Sat and exhale Nam. And we're just going to do this for 3 minutes. Find your own rhythm. And last inhale. And exhale deeply and completely through your nose. Now take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. And just take this time to give gratitude for the week that you've had, no matter what kind of week you've had. And to be thankful for being here in this moment and taking this time for yourself. And this time that you take is just so important. And know that you've done something wonderful for yourself just by being here and for taking the time to breathe and connect with your body. And if you have any longings in your heart or any intentions for how you would like to feel, or something that you would really like to have help or guidance with, just bring that into your final blessing and set the intention for what you need. And then let it go and trust that it's coming back to you. Okay, so I am so aware that my baby's crying downstairs and my husband's with her, but I'm just getting the feeling that she's probably going to need me and need maybe a wee extra breastfeed or something. So I'm going to read you this final little passage, and it's from this book called Prayers of Honouring, and the woman that wrote it is called Pixie Lighthorse, and I follow her on Instagram, and she's wonderful, and her book's just so beautiful. I've only had it for a couple of weeks, in fact about a week and a half, so I've not actually done a lot of time with it, but it's really beautiful. So I did what I did with my other book, and I just opened at the first thing that I opened the book, and whatever was there was what I was going to share with you. And I opened at this, and it's called Honouring Purpose. Thank you for the blessings of breath, of hydration, of animation. What a joy it is to be alive and living with intention. Direct us to our solemn devotion. Help us to be receptive when you call. Awaken us to that which is greater than the daily lives we carry on with right now. Create in us a chain reaction of events which find us centered in the current, headed for our destiny, and able to read the road signs. Teach us that each of us is full of beautiful gifts to be shared and to be open to receive. Remind us with great frequency that what we enjoy most can be aligned with what you have in mind for us, if you can help us with our listening. Show us that what we're called to do is not only possible, but our duties to honour our sacred work in the world. Point us to the resource which will support our efforts. Help us to know that we can do it. Help us walk to our wildness, where we can become clear in our feral states about what we need to do and how we need to be. Split us open at the beauty point, where our abilities meet the energy of our hearts. Crack through us with your lightning bolts and allow us to channel your divine electricity into all that we do. Help us to be conductors. Purify us with your rain and awaken us with your thunder. Rock us to peace after we've thrashed against the trust that we are safe, sheltered, seen, heard, and held. Then put us back on path again. When we are prompted to leap, hold the net for us. We'll need it. Help us to dive off the precipice, knowing that you will be there to guide our next right step. Hang us gracefully upside down to gain perspective, so that we may know ourselves, our work, and you from every angle, with the love only you, the divine, can inspire. Help us to take a chance on ourselves. And that's Honouring Purpose from this lovely book, Prayers of Honouring. And that's such a beautiful way for me to finish this evening. And I may actually make a little recording of that final blessing. I'll do that tonight or tomorrow. I'll do a nice little recording that you can download. I'll make it available, and it might be a lovely thing for you to listen to as often as you can. But I love to listen to a guided meditation or some affirmations before I go to bed at night. So I'll do that because I think that one's really lovely, and I'm finding it a very helpful thing to keep at the forefront of my mind. So thank you for being here with me this evening, and for me, I guess. I'm going to do our final blessing, and I'm going to sing it. There's been so much recently in the news, in fact, since I've been away on my holiday. So much going on in the world right now that is just unthinkably cruel and sad. And I wanted to hold this space for light and love, and be a portal for that, the good in everyone. So when we do our final blessing and we say, may the long time sun, and we do it 3 times, and we send it to somebody who we love or who we want to send our love to. And then the second one is when we send the love and blessing to ourselves. And then the third is when we send it out into the world. And I think with the recent events across the world, close to home, and I guess it's happening everywhere, but this evening I feel really mindful of sending my love to all of that chaos and despair, and to bring some light in with our own love. So thank you for being here this evening. It's been so lovely, and as always, I'm so glad that I took the time to show up here, and it gives me so much, so thank you for watching. And we'll go into our blessing. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next Friday.